These are the craziest football moments explained, starting with the moment that changed football forever. The goal that changed football forever. The date was June 27th, 2010. England versus Germany in the World Cup round of 16. Germany was leading 2-1 when Frank Lampard struck a shot that hit the crossbar, bounced clearly over the goal line, and then spun back out. The whole world saw it. The German keeper Manuel Neuer knew it. Lampard knew it. The millions watching at home knew it. But somehow, the only people who didn't see it were the ones that mattered, the referee and his assistants. What makes this moment so significant isn't just that it was a terrible decision, it's that this single moment, this one catastrophic error literally transformed football forever. FIFA had been resisting goal line technology for years. Sepp Blatter, FIFA's president at the time, repeatedly claimed that human error was part of the game's charm. But after Lampard's ghost goal, that position became indefensible. Within 2 years, goal line technology was approved. By 2014, it was being used in the World Cup. A single moment changed a century-old approach to officiating the world's most popular sport. But here's the crazy part. England was trailing 2-1 when this happened. Had the goal counted, they would have equalised it 2-2 and potentially changed the entire momentum of the match. Instead, Germany went on to win 4-1. One referee's mistake potentially altered football history. And speaking of altering history, the 3 yellow card mystery. The 2006 World Cup match between Australia and Croatia gave us perhaps the most baffling referee error ever witnessed at the highest level. English referee Graham Poll, considered one of the best in the world at the time, somehow showed Croatian defender Josip Simanic 3 yellow cards before finally sending him off. Let me repeat that, 3 yellow cards. For those who don't know, in football it's 2 yellow cards and you're off. That's one of the most basic rules of the game, yet somehow Poll lost track completely. He showed Simanic his first yellow card in the 61st minute for a foul, then came the second yellow in the 90th minute, which should have resulted in an immediate red card and dismissal, but Poll simply forgot he'd already booked him. Then incredibly, Simanic received a 3rd yellow card after the final whistle for dissent, at which point Poll finally sent him off. The fallout was immediate. Poll was sent home from the World Cup in disgrace. His international refereeing career was effectively over. He later revealed in his autobiography that he'd confused Simanic with another Croatian player because he had written down the wrong shirt number after the first booking. What makes this even more bizarre is that Simanic was actually born in Australia and spoke English with an Australian accent. When Poll gave him his second yellow, Simanic reportedly didn't remind the referee he should be off. And why would he? His team needed him on the pitch. This incident led to significant changes in referee communication protocols. Today, referees have much more support from their assistants to track disciplinary actions, but nothing can erase the fact that one of the world's top officials somehow forgot to count to 2 on football's biggest stage. The goalkeeper who became a striker. Now let's talk about one of the most dramatic last-minute goals ever scored by a goalkeeper. The year was 2013 and the team was Barnet FC in England. The goalkeeper was Graham Stack. In the 95th minute of a crucial match against relegation rivals, with his team desperately needing a goal to avoid dropping out of the Football League, Stack ran forward for a corner kick. The ball came in, bounced around chaotically, and then Stack, the man whose job is to stop goals, not score them, executed a perfect bicycle kick that flew into the top corner. The stadium erupted and players piled on top of him. It was the kind of moment that makes football the most dramatic sport on earth. But here's the incredible part. Stack had never scored a goal before in his entire career. Not in training, not in youth football, never. His first ever goal was a 95th minute bicycle kick to save his club from relegation. The physics of what Stack did are remarkable. A bicycle kick requires perfect timing, body coordination and spatial awareness. For a goalkeeper, someone not trained in striking techniques, to execute this under extreme pressure is almost beyond belief. Stack later revealed in interviews that he didn't even think about what he was doing. Pure instinct took over. Sometimes the most extraordinary moments happen when players stop thinking and just react. And if you thought that was impressive, wait until you hear about the impossible free kick. Roberto Carlos' free kick against France in 1997 isn't just famous, it's scientifically remarkable. So much so that physicists have actually studied it to understand how it was even possible. The setup: Brazil versus France in a friendly tournament. Roberto Carlos standing about 35 yards from goal at an almost impossible angle. What happened next defied physics in many people's minds. Carlos struck the ball with the outside of his left foot with such power and spin that it initially flew well wide of the goal. So wide that the cameraman following the ball's trajectory momentarily lost track of the ball. The French player in the wall, Didier Deschamps, began walking away thinking the ball was going out for a throw-in. But then the impossible happened. The ball curved dramatically, almost unnaturally, back towards the goal and into the net. French goalkeeper Fabien Barthez, often considered one of the best of his generation, didn't even move. He just stood there as stunned as everyone watching. This isn't just football folklore, it's actual science. The phenomenon Carlos created is called the Magnus effect, where a spinning object creates a whirlpool of air around it, creating pressure differences that curve its path. What made Carlos's kick special was the perfect combination of factors. The incredible power, he struck the ball at around 85 miles an hour, the precise point of contact on the ball, and the perfect amount of spin. Scientists have calculated that the ball curved approximately 12 feet during its flight, a nearly impossible trajectory. Carlos himself couldn't replicate it exactly, despite attempting similar free kicks throughout his career. This wasn't just skill, it was a perfect moment where human ability and physics aligned to create something magical. But sometimes, the most incredible moments aren't about skill at all, but about complete chaos. The beach ball goal. October 17th, 2009. Liverpool versus Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. A match that gave us one of the strangest goals in Premier League history. Sunderland's Darren Bent took a shot towards Liverpool's goal. Nothing remarkable about that, except that the ball hit a red beach ball that had been thrown onto the pitch by a Liverpool fan, reflected dramatically and went past goalkeeper Pepe Reina into the net. The referee Mike Jones allowed the goal to stand. Sunderland won the match 1-0. Here's where it gets even more bizarre. According to the laws of the game, the goal should have never counted. The beach ball was a foreign object on the pitch and play should have been stopped immediately. If the referee had followed the rules correctly, he would have given a drop ball. The young Liverpool fan who had thrown the beach ball was devastated. Television cameras caught him in tears, being consoled by adults around him. He had accidentally scored against his own team. The aftermath was significant. The referee was temporarily demoted to the Championship the following weekend. The beach ball itself ended up in the National Football Museum in Manchester, a bizarre artifact of one of football's strangest moments. The incident highlights how even in sport governed by strict rules, chaos can intervene at any moment. A child's innocent mistake changed the outcome of a Premier League match and potentially affected Liverpool's entire season. Speaking of chaos on the pitch, the bite that went around the world. The 2014 World Cup match between Italy and Uruguay gave us one of the most bizarre and controversial moments in World Cup history. Luis Suarez, Uruguay's star striker, bit Italian defender Giorgio Chiellini on the shoulder during a tussle in the penalty area. Yep, you heard that right, he bit him. The referee didn't see it happen and Suarez wasn't punished during the match. Uruguay went on to win 1-0, eliminating Italy from the tournament. But the television cameras caught everything. The bite was clear. The tooth marks on Chiellini's shoulder were visible when he pulled down his shirt to show the referee. What makes this incident truly extraordinary is that this wasn't Suarez's first biting incident. It wasn't even his second. It was his third time biting an opponent on a football pitch. He'd previously bitten PSV Eindhoven's Otman Bakal while playing for Ajax in 2010, resulting in a 7-match ban. Then he bit Chelsea's Branislav Ivanovic while playing for Liverpool in 2013, receiving a 10-match ban. After this third incident, FIFA came down hard. Suarez was banned for 4 months from all football-related activities, the longest ban ever issued at a World Cup. He was also banned for 9 international matches and fined 100,000 Swiss francs. The psychological aspect of this incident fascinated sports psychologists. What would drive a world-class athlete to repeatedly engage in such bizarre behaviour? Suarez later admitted he needed professional help and underwent therapy. Despite these controversies, Suarez remains one of the most talented strikers of his generation. After the bite, he transferred from Liverpool to Barcelona for approximately £75 million and went on to win numerous trophies. It's a strange juxtaposition, extraordinary talent alongside extraordinary behavioural issues. The Suarez biting incidents reminds us that even at the highest level of sport, human behaviour can be unpredictable and inexplicable. But sometimes that was nowhere near as crazy as the next one, the ghost goal that wasn't a ghost. The 2005 Champions League semi-final between Liverpool and Chelsea produced one of the most controversial goals in European football history, a goal so disputed that it's still debated today. In the 4th minute of the second leg at Anfield, Liverpool's Luis Garcia quickly poked the ball towards Chelsea's goal as goalkeeper Petr Cech came out to challenge. Chelsea defender William Gallas attempted to clear the ball off the line, and the referee's assistant signalled that the ball had crossed the line. The goal was given. Liverpool went on to win 1-0 and advance to the final, which they famously won against AC Milan in Istanbul. But did the ball actually cross the line? Television replays were inconclusive. Some angles suggested it might have been a goal, others indicated Gallas had cleared it before it fully crossed. Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho famously dubbed it a ghost goal, a term that has stuck in football lexicon. He insisted the ball never crossed the line. The ghost goal remains a perfect example of how split-second decisions can change football history. If that goal hadn't been given, perhaps Chelsea would have reached the final instead of Liverpool. Perhaps the miracle of Istanbul would never have happened. But sometimes, the most incredible moments aren't controversial at all. They're just physically impossible. The scorpion kick save. March 1995, England versus Colombia in a friendly match at Wembley Stadium. Colombian goalkeeper René Higuita produced one of the most outrageous and unnecessary pieces of skill ever seen on a football pitch. Jamie Redknapp's tame cross was floating harmlessly towards Higuita. Any conventional goalkeeper would have caught it easily. Instead, he leapt forward, flipped his legs over his head and cleared the ball with his heels in a motion that resembled a scorpion's tail, all while parallel to the ground. The scorpion kick was born. What makes this moment so extraordinary is that there was absolutely no need for it. It wasn't a save in any meaningful sense. The ball wasn't going towards goal and it wasn't a dangerous situation. It was pure showmanship, a moment of outrageous flamboyance that defied conventional goalkeeping goalkeeping wisdom. Higuita later explained that he performed the move because I saw the ball coming and I had to improvise. But this explanation hardly seems sufficient for such an unconventional choice. The physics of the scorpion kick are remarkable. It requires incredible core strength, perfect timing, and a complete disregard for personal safety. If Higuita had mistimed it, he could have seriously injured himself. The scorpion kick became Higuita's signature move, overshadowing the rest of his colourful career, which included being imprisoned for his role in a kidnapping case and scoring 41 goals as a goalkeeper, mostly from penalties and free kicks. This moment exemplifies how football can transcend mere competition to become performance art. In a single instant of inspiration, Higuita created a move that goalkeepers around the world still try to replicate today. But if you thought that was dramatic, consider what happens when the weather gets involved. When lightning strike, June 2nd, 1998. A match between Shelbourne and Monaghan United in Ireland took an extraordinary turn when a bolt of lightning struck the pitch during play. The lightning hit the field, sending several players crashing to the ground. Remarkably, no one was killed, but several players were injured. Shelbourne's Paul Halligan suffered burns and was hospitalised. The odds of being struck by lightning in a given year are approximately 1 in 500,000. The odds of it happening during a professional football match are astronomically lower. What makes this incident particularly remarkable is that the match actually continued after a delay. Today, such an event would undoubtedly result in an immediate abandonment, but different safety standards prevailed in the late 1990s. And you know, Ireland. This wasn't the only time lightning has affected football. In 2009, a Peruvian match between Cienciano and Bolognese was interrupted when lightning struck the pitch, injuring 3 players. In 2018, a bolt hit a pitch in Jamaica during a schoolboy match, injuring 4 players. These incidents highlight how, despite all the planning and organisation that goes into professional sports, nature remains an unpredictable and sometimes dangerous factor. No amount of tactical preparation can account for a lightning bolt striking the field of play. Weather extremes have produced other memorable football moments too. The infamous snow game between the USA and Costa Rica in the 2013 World Cup qualifier was played in a blizzard so severe that the ball and field markings were barely visible. The USA won 1-0, prompting Costa Rica to file an official complaint with FIFA claiming unfair advantage, though it was ultimately rejected. These moments remind us that football is played in the real world, subject to all its unpredictable elements. Sometimes the most memorable moments come not from the players, but from the environment around them. But sometimes the most incredible moments come from the fans themselves. The match that continued without fans. October 1st, 2017. Barcelona versus Las Palmas at Camp Nou. As Catalonia held a controversial independence referendum, Barcelona requested that the match be postponed due to political unrest in the city. When La Liga refused, Barcelona made an unprecedented decision. They would play the match behind closed doors in an empty 99,000 capacity stadium. The result was one of the most eerie spectacles in modern football. One of the world's most famous teams played in one of the world's most famous stadiums, with no one watching. Every shout from the players, every instruction from the coaches, every thud of the ball echoed around the cavernous empty stands. Barcelona won 3-0, but the score seemed almost irrelevant. The empty stadium made a powerful political statement about the club's alignment with Catalan identity during a deeply divisive moment in Spanish politics. The visual impact was striking. Television viewers witnessed something rarely seen at elite level. A match played in complete silence except for the sounds of the game itself. No chants, no cheers, no reactions to goals or near misses. This moment transcended sport, becoming a cultural and political landmark. It demonstrated how football clubs can be powerful symbols of regional identity and how the game itself can become a platform for political expression. While not a moment of skill or drama in the conventional sense, this match remains one of the most unusual in recent football history. A reminder that sometimes what's missing can be more powerful than what's present. But that was nothing compared to the next one. The handball that divided a continent. November 18th, 2009. France versus Ireland in a World Cup qualification playoff, with the game tied at 1-1 on aggregate and heading for penalties. French captain Thierry Henry controlled the ball with his hand, not once, but twice, before crossing for William Gallas to score the decisive goal. The referee and his assistants missed it. France qualified for the 2010 World Cup. Ireland were eliminated. What made this incident particularly controversial was Henry's status as one of the football's most respected figures. He had built a career not just on brilliant skills, but on sportsmanship and fair play. Yet in this crucial moment, he chose to handle the ball deliberately and then celebrate the resulting goal. The fallout was enormous. The Irish FA demanded a replay. The Irish government lodged a formal complaint with FIFA. French newspapers questioned whether their qualification was legitimate. Even French politicians expressed embarrassment. Henry himself later admitted the handball, saying, "I'm not the referee, but yes, it was a handball." He suggested a replay would be the fairest solution, but FIFA rejected the idea. This incident raised profound questions about sportsmanship, fair play, and the role of technology in football. It became one of the key arguments for the introduction of VAR, video assisted referee technology, which would have almost certainly overturned the goal. The hand of Goal, as it became known, a play on Maradona's infamous infamous hand of God, remains one of the most controversial moments in World Cup qualification history. A split-second decision that kept one nation out of the World Cup and sent another there under a cloud of controversy. But if Henry's handball was controversial, consider this next moment of complete referee confusion, the goal that came back. September 20th, 2008, a championship match between Watford and Reading produced perhaps the strangest goal ever awarded in professional football. Reading's Stephen Hunt took a corner kick that went out of play, then back into play off a Watford player. The ball didn't go anywhere near the goal. Reading player Noel Hunt headed it wide and the players prepared for a goal kick. But then, inexplicably, referee Stuart Atwell awarded a goal to Reading. He'd been convinced by his assistant that the ball had crossed the goal line, despite it being nowhere near the goal. The ghost goal, or phantom goal, stood, despite furious protests from Watford players. Television replays confirmed what everyone in the stadium could see. The ball had never gone anywhere near crossing the goal line. The match ended 2-2, with the phantom goal playing a crucial role in the final result. Fallout was significant. The referee, Stuart Atwell, was temporarily demoted from championship matches. His assistant, Nigel Bannister, who had signalled for the goal, faced similar criticism. The incident became a textbook example of referee error. What makes this incident truly remarkable is that unlike many controversial decisions, there was no room for interpretation. It wasn't a matter of opinion or perspective, the ball simply did not go in the goal, not even close. This moment stands as perhaps the most objectively incorrect decision ever made in professional football, a reminder that even in a sport governed by relatively simple rules, human error can lead to extraordinary mistakes. And finally, let's look at a moment when the rules themselves created an unforgettable situation, the fastest red card in history. Some football moments are memorable for their skill, others for controversy, and some simply for their sheer absurdity. The red card shown to Lee Todd at Cross Farm Park Celtic in a Sunday League match in England falls firmly in the last category. The referee blew his whistle to start the match, and Todd, startled by the loud whistle close to his ear, exclaimed, "Fuck me, that was loud." The referee immediately showed him a red card for foul language. Time elapsed from kick-off to red card, 2 seconds. This incident, while from amateur football rather than professional, became legendary for being the fastest dismissal in football history. It perfectly captures the sometimes absurd application of rules without context or common sense. Todd later explained, "The ref booked me for foul and abusive language. I said it to myself, not to the ref. I wasn't swearing at him or anyone else." This moment reminds us that for all the technology, money, and global attention in professional football, the game is governed by human judgment at all levels. Sometimes that judgment can produce moments of absurdity that become part of football folklore. From World Cup finals to Sunday League fields, football's capacity to generate extraordinary, unexpected moments is unmatched in sports. Whether it's Roberto Carlos defying physics, Paul the Octopus defying probability, or a Sunday League player getting sent off for being startled by a whistle, the beautiful game continues to surprise us even after more than a century. These crazy moments aren't just entertaining footnotes, they're what makes football the world's most unpredictable and beloved sport. From the physically impossible feats that push human limits, to the bizarre coincidences that make us question reality, football continues to write scripts that no Hollywood writer would dare imagine. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love my video about every banned football item.